Okay, welcome back. And let's now quickly look at the news from Dangote Refinery in a statement that that things are going to have to change, that it cannot continue the way it is, since it is going to have to be procuring everything that it needs with the dollar, and so it cannot sell, in Naira. In other words, it's now going to go back to where we were before we looked for these solutions. We are told that now it will be dollar for petrol. And this is going to have an effect, but let's see what the experts say about this whole matter. Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze, he joins us remotely. Good morning to you, Dr. Anakwenze.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you very much. My name is Iyori Folari. Thank you very much for, coming on the program. What do you make of this situation? Because the fear of most people is that there will be a price hike, just as the price of petrol in the country is beginning to come down. At the same time, this news, hits us. So I wanted to know what exactly do you make of it?
As an introduction of what I am, I'm Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze, medical doctor and a businessman in America, and I also have businesses in Nigeria and factories in the agricultural sector.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Can you give me a second to lower the TV here?
Can you give me Yes, because yes, we do prefer that you don't use the TV to hear us. Thank you very much. So, as soon as it comes back, we'll be knowing, and maybe I should
just... I'm back.
Oh, okay then. So give us your understanding of this situation, unexpected, I might say, by most Nigerians. And so there's a palpable fear now that will this take us back to the era of exorbitant fuel prices at the pump?
Like I said always, the only way you'll achieve result is through private sector. Anytime you're dependent on the government to provide this and provide this is always a failure. You have Nigerian Airways and it was a failure. You have Nigerian Refinery, it's a failure. Nigerian Iron and Steel is a failure. Nigerian Shipping was a failure. For private business to work, you have to let them sell the commodities based on their cost of production. You can't come and be forcing them. If it costs you 20,000 Naira to make something, then the government is forcing you to sell it for 15,000 Naira, they will close down. It will not work. You have to let the market forces control things. If you make akara with 20,000 Naira and they tell you to sell it to people for 15,000 Naira, you will close down. You wouldn't produce anymore. So you should leave Dangote to make and sell, produce. What you need to do is, in private world, you have competition. Encourage another group to form their own refinery to compete with Dangote. That's what will drive it down. That's how the world operates. It's based on competition. It's not based on government rules. Government telling you this is what you have to charge is not going to work. They will close down. So,
okay.
You let the customers decide. Let the customer decide if they want it or if they want the regular Nigerian government petrol. Let them decide.
Okay, so but the concern that we have, that the Dangote Refinery's announcement that it had temporarily halted the sale of petroleum products in Naira as the Naira for crude talks between it and NNPCL appeared to have failed, this is a bad omen. So what was wrong with the Naira for crude? Because it seemed like a breakthrough at the time when the president had come into it and had said, you know what, how about this idea? Let Dangote in Nigeria here, let it have all that it needs in Naira for a Naira price. We thought that was making progress. But now, as you've just explained, apparently the sums were not adding up. And you said that in a business, you have to be, you have to be on top of the figures. So
Yes.
that's, you have to be on top of the figures. And if it's not working out, since it's not a charity, then so be it, we're going to have to hike the price. Nobody used that expression, but of course, that's what it's going to come to at the end of the day.
But that's the only way we work. You know, the price of petroleum in Nigeria and gas is very low compared to the world, despite the fact that you're screaming that it's too much, too much. In Europe, it's 20 times more than what you're paying in Nigeria. And America is like 10 times more than you're paying. What you're paying is so low is because you've been spoiled for many years, paying nothing for what costs more. Nobody can sell you something below the price it takes them to make it. To the chemicals, the workers, otherwise you will go out of business. I make rice, I make gari, I make pigs. I wouldn't sell it to you without making a profit. I would not.
Okay, I hear you. And using Dangote Refinery's own words, it was regretfully, although it didn't use the word regretfully, informing the public that the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has temporarily halted the sale of petroleum products in Naira. This decision is necessary to avoid a mismatch between our sales proceeds, and our crude oil purchase obligations, which are currently denominated in US dollars. This is just pointing for even those who are not, who are challenged in economic education, know that what we're looking at here is a sky-high, increase in the price of fuel. And this coming only after people were beginning to say that things are getting a bit better. It's coming down. We're at somewhere around 800 now. But I don't know. I've listened to other business people who are speaking similarly to you, saying that, look, even the market women say the same thing. They say in Yoruba, it is what we buy that we will sell. Tabara lamata. And I think that principally is what you're saying here. That Dangote has its costs, as it itself has said. It's used the expression crude oil purchase obligations currently denominated in dollars. He said there's a mismatch and that it needs to avoid that. So it's like we should just gird our loins, so to speak, and just wait for it to happen. Already, are you surprised that there are reports of, fuel stations stockpiling, hoarding, so that they will have enough when everything, now is out there in the open? How do you see this? I hear what you said as a businessman yourself, and now I see the import of your introducing yourself to us as a businessman who has businesses both where you are located and also in Nigeria. I think the point you're making is that if you weren't able to sell at the price that you are determined will be workable for the business, you wouldn't be a businessman. And I think that is the Dangote Refinery position. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So there's nothing we can do about this.
No. The only thing you can do is the government encourage other businessmen to set up competing refinery. The way businesses are controlled is by competition. If you have 3 other companies competing with Dangote, he will force his price down. He'll start looking for a way to lower his cost.
Indeed, because we understand that, Dangote has said that there are, foreign exchange, components to the product he ultimately sells out there, and that the figures are not adding up. I'm surprised that we're hearing this, because he would have known this, the authorities here would have known this from the beginning. So it's a bit of a surprise to me. So I wonder what's going on, really.
But it is the same reason why you don't have refineries in Nigeria. You don't have private refineries because their cost of production, what Nigerian people want to pay versus the cost of production, is a mismatch. That's why if they are making even 5,000 naira, more refinery will be all over Nigeria. You have to come to the point of where they can cover their costs and make profit. If you have that, there will be refinery everywhere in Nigeria. Nobody can do it below the cost of production. The government might do it for political reason, but it's not business reason.
Just in case anybody missed it, here is the a video of the actual statement from Dangote?
It's expected because the crude oil business is actually a dollar-denominated business. And Dangote, by selling in Naira, was absorbing some significant costs, which the government might have been allaying through the crude sale. So it can't sustain Naira sales of crude when all these costs are in dollars. And then the other part of it is that, again, he also has to pay some of his loans, which are also dollar-denominated. So obviously, there's a mismatch if he's selling in Naira and he's getting crude in dollars. So that's the alignment of the crude cargo he's getting. What it means for all of us is there might be a slight change in prices. I think it might go up to like 900 to 925 because the government has taken quite a fair share of loans and used the crude as forward sales. And because, again, sometimes you have declining production, that might impair their ability to continue that agreement. What they said publicly was 48 million barrels has been done so far. So that might be the challenge. But hopefully, maybe in about 3 weeks, a month, we can get back the acts together. And hopefully by that time, the issues in River State will have been resolved as well. Because all the bombing of pipelines and coal also has an impact on our crude production.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear a word of that, but that's the technical thing. We, shut down, temporarily so we could sort it out. Clearly we haven't, didn't hear a word of that, but it was explaining, how we got here for Dangote to be making, the Dangote refinery to be making the statements that it is making. And it was supposed to be for the purposes of background, but as I said, I didn't hear a word of it. But, Dr. Nwachukwu Anekwenze has been speaking with us, and he said that, he didn't say it, but clearly he identifies with the business that Dangote refinery is, and if you can't sell at a reasonable rate, then there's nothing. In fact, he has said before that there's nothing you can do about it. I just don't know where to go from here, but it hasn't reflected yet, to the best of my knowledge. I think I was at a fuel station, I think yesterday I think I was at a fuel station, but we have a challenge on our hands here because it will go. But are you concerned, Dr. Anekwenze, that people might take undue advantage of this situation here? That is...
that is natural. They will try to take advantage, but that's where the government should come in to make sure that the regular prices is what is paid. That's where the government can come in. But in terms of government can't come in to force somebody who makes something to sell at price that he will lose money. But the ones that they already have, they can do something about that by being there and making sure that the right price is being paid.
Well, I guess I want to thank you, Dr. Nwachukwu Anekwenze, getting your perspective on all of this. We wait almost with trepidation to see how this thing is going to work out. But you're not the first person, the first business person who has said that, quite frankly, there is no alternative to what Dangote refinery has put out there. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Nwachukwu Anekwenze, for talking with us.
Okay, thank you.
All right then. And so we're going to have to leave it here for now and see what developments come up, and we'll be back on it as soon as there's more to report. Thank you very much. Do join us tomorrow. Okay, I hear that there's a caller just before I close. Okay, I've just been told a caller. Who is on the line, please? I don't know the name of the caller. Hello? Yes, sir. Can you hear us? Caller, please identify yourself. Good morning to you.
What?
Yes, there's someone on the line.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who's on the line?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
I can hear you. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, 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 hello. I can hear you. Well, as I was saying, I was just taking my leave. I guess we'll go right back to that. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.